Hey guys, welcome back to It's Confusing Bits. I am Corey, and today we're going to talk about Stephen King on writing a memoir of the craft. So, too long didn't read, too long didn't watch. This is a great book. This is the reason why I get rave reviews. This is a really fantastic book. If you're in a creative profession, especially if if you're a writer or just in a creative profession, like a programmer or some other type of artist or whatever, this is a great. I think this has some really great life advice for that particular career path. I would highly recommend it. So. This is my first Stephen King book. I have been meaning to do a Stephen King book for a while. I have a friend from like high school that used to rave about Stephen King all the time, and I just never actually sat down and read Stephen King. Turns out, hey guys, I'll let you in on a little secret. Stephen King's a pretty good writer. This is just fantastic. Like I did on. And another interesting thing is, I came recommended this book somewhere, specifically the audiobook. Somebody, I think it was Hello Internet podcast or something, with CCP Gray and the other dude from Numberphile. They did a podcast or whatever, and I think they talked about the podcast specifically. I mean, they talked about the audiobook. They said it was really great, the Stephen King audiobook, because Stephen King actually does the audiobook, which is the one I got. And again, it's fantastic. He's really funny. He's really witty. I had no idea. I didn't think like horror, I didn't think someone who did horror was going to be so funny or whatever. But he's got humor all throughout. He talks about his biography, how he got it started. And then he starts talking about some of his pet peeves and stuff like that. He gets some of the past and stuff, and by the end, he starts giving a lot more of the meat of the book. So I saw one review where somebody was talking about they were it was before I read the book, and it got me kind of concerned because it was talking about how he was petty and nitpicking and stuff like that, and I didn't get that at all. Like this, he was a very even keeled. He presents himself well. I don't know if obviously he wrote about himself, so he's going to put himself in a good light. But I didn't get like any sort of negative connotation about his personality or anything. Maybe they only read it, and for whatever reason, maybe English wasn't their native language, so they didn't catch on to the tone or whatever. But he's definitely he's telling jokes, he's being serious, he's just a fantastic storyteller. Obviously, I mean, judging by how famous he is with his writing, it's just. But this is definitely not one to miss, especially if you're in the creative profession. I wanted to read this book specifically, so I'm a programmer. And it's a technical profession, but it's also a creative profession. It's a very creative profession. And you have to, there's also a lot of self-motivation, self-starting that you have to do with programming. And there's a whole, everybody's got to get into their groove. You've got to figure out your workflow and everything. You've got to figure out your process to be a programmer. And very much in the same way that a writer works. And that's what kind of turned me on, because I'm always looking for different ways to be more productive or more efficient, or sometimes just to validate some of the things that I do to make sure that they're actually sane. And so I got kind of on a kick I've always, looked to other programmers and stuff, but I was like, well, there's other professions that have to do this. And writers are a big one. I got turned on because of the reading thing. Everybody always talks about Brandon Sanderson being such a productive writer, such a prolific writer, that I started looking up some of his process and stuff like that. And he has YouTube videos where he talks about the craft and everything. He talks a lot of, he specifically teaches a course like at university level about writing and like in depth, right? And so yeah, all those lectures, and I saw some of those lectures online. So I was like, well, there's another prolific author out there, very famous, that's Stephen King, and apparently he has this excellent book that everybody recommends on writing, so I might as well read that. And so I do recommend it. If you're in any kind of creative profession, you definitely probably want to catch this one. It's fantastic. It's not particularly long, it's not particularly complex, it's like 300 pages, so you'll fly right through it. But I think it really captured the space that you need to be in to be creative. I think it really captures that. So if you're just thinking about becoming a writer, or thinking about being a programmer or something like that, some type of self-starting creative profession, I think it would be a good thing if you're thinking about doing a career that you read this book and you can identify yourself in this book, that's a person that you could be. I think that's a good litmus test. Obviously, in getting to work, that's the thing. Like if you're an artist, if you draw, you got to draw. If you paint, you got to paint. If you write, if you want to be a writer, you got to write. And if you want to program, you got to program. And if you're a musician, you got to make music. You can't talk about doing any of those things. You got to do that thing, and you got to do a lot of it. A lot of it. And that's something that kind of, you hear about people being prolific authors or whatever, or prolific entertainers or other artists and stuff like that. And I think it really outlines that he started really young. Like when he was a kid, he started writing. And that's something that you see a lot, especially in the best of the best usually start young. Like even outside the creative profession, Tiger Woods, he started when he was a kid. All of these gymnasts, Olympic level gymnasts, they all started when they were kids, right? And not to say that you can't start later in life, but to be the greatest, you just gotta have that body of experience, right? And that only starts from starting as early as you can. But I think it really goes to prove, even like actors. You think actors, and you'll see a new actor come on the scene, and suddenly, and they're in all the movies. And you're like, they came out of nowhere. And then you actually go on IMDb and you look them up, and you see, oh, they've been at this for 10 years. They didn't come out of nowhere. They've been literally plugging away at it for kids. A lot of them, they've been doing small roles like off and on for like 10 years or ever since they were a kid or something like that. They've been in it, right? It's relatively rare, I would say, that I look up like an author or something like that, or especially an actor nowadays, that they just come really just completely out of the blue. It only really happens occasionally, like especially the really high profile ones, like the kid actor that played Anakin in Star Wars. He was literally just cast for that role out of an open casting call kind of thing. And then there are a couple of movies here and there that you hear about that they just enroll. So what was it? The Napoleon Dynamite guy, I think he just got cast out of nowhere. I mean, it happens. You're going to have these flukes of people who just have like tremendous, whatever it is that the actors have to have, that pizzazz or whatever, charisma. They need that something, maybe they just had it naturally or whatever, but most of the time it's just a lot of work, and so I think that's really outlines in this book, that you just gotta plug at it, away it, you gotta be diligent. He even talks about a little bit about his alcohol problem. He talks about the whole career, his career. So it's literally like a bibliography, and also it's called a memoir, right? Yeah, memoir. So it's a memoir, but it also has stuff at the end, and like, hey, you need to have your system down. You need to work on however it is that you need to be productive. Like he talks about, literally, he says, I listen to heavy metal with my headphones, and I block out and I work for 4 hours or whatever he says in the book, and that's all I do. And I just get complete. I write at a desk, and the only thing that you could do at that desk is to write. And he like goes into the zone. Practical stuff like that. Like I have here, this is where I work. So, but I'm doing YouTube videos and stuff like that, but this is also where I work. But I don't play on this machine. This is YouTube. This is work for me. I'm doing it for a hobby, but it's more like work, right? This is my work machine. So I come here, and literally all the windows and everything are all set up for work. I have a gaming machine over there, and that's the machine I play video games. I never do it anymore, but that's the machine that I'll play video games. I come here to work. It's all set up to work. I got the keyboard and everything. Everything is dialed in to keep me productive, right? And I've created the space to be that way. I've created this space to be able to easily make videos, so I could just pop in, make a video. Or like today, all day I'm writing. If you see like a whole series of videos, probably like the last 4 or 5 videos have been me wearing this shirt, because we all, if you look back, you'll see like half a dozen videos all with me wearing the same things, because I do them all in big batches, because that's the thing that's efficient, is to me to sit down and just do this one day. And that's what I'm doing today. I'm going through, this will be the last one today. I'm almost done. Anyway, that's everybody needs their productivity system and their little things, and this is called batching. That's one of I think I actually got it from 4 Hour Work Week. It's called batching. You do everything all at once, and I don't have to think about it for like a month and a half or 2 months. So anyway, I'm rambling at this point. I definitely highly recommend Stephen King on Writing, especially the audiobook. He reads it. It's fantastic. I think you get a lot more of the humor. I had no idea that he was so funny, but I just really enjoyed it. And I will definitely be picking up some Stephen King pretty soon. Apparently, I am a Stephen King fan, or at least it seems that way from this book. So if you happen to know a good Stephen King book to start with, go ahead and list it in the comment. But otherwise, well, I'll be just going off random internet votes. Anyway, coming up next, we have the last book in the Legend of Drizzt series. It's Sojourn. I got this one used. Apparently, I couldn't find a new copy. But that's coming up next week. I'll see you guys then.